Welcome back to the crossover. I'm your host, Rohan Nadkarni, joined today by my esteemed colleagues, Ben Pickman and Michael Pina. Guys, the NBA playoffs are in full swing, so I'd like to hear from each of you. Michael, let's start with you. What's been your most interesting series so far?
For me, it's the Los Angeles Clippers versus the Dallas Mavericks. This series is fascinating because of the strategy and the different schemes and all the players being thrown at Luka in an attempt to slow him down. But I'm just as interested now that the Clippers are down 0-2 in the stakes. First round series don't normally yield humongous ripple effects that will impact the entire league. But if the Clippers are eliminated by Dallas, all of a sudden Kawhi Leonard's free agency becomes very interesting, possibly. It felt like a fait accompli that he'd always stay in Los Angeles. It's where he's wanted to be his entire career. But the Clippers are in a predicament in that they can't just run back this group next season, but they also don't have any easy path to upgrading. They have no trade assets. They have no cap space. They're built to win right now. And, I just don't know what the basketball reasons are for Kawhi to stay if they're eliminated in the first round, especially when there's a team like Miami that he can go to that already has Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo and is in the Eastern Conference. So a lot of this might be me getting ahead of myself, and the Clippers can definitely still win this series. But there's just a lot riding on Game 3 in Dallas, and I'm super excited to see how it unfolds.
Michael laid out all the ramifications of the Clippers-Mavs series, but I'm going to go to the other LA team as my most interesting series and look to the Lakers and the Suns. And do you know who would agree with me? That would be the TNT Turner Sports executives who put this game on TNT, whereas they put Clippers-Mavs on NBA TV when the two games were going on at the same time. Of course, you have LeBron James, and everything LeBron does is must watch. And it feels like for the first time in a long time that in this series, there's a legitimate chance that a LeBron James team might lose, not in the NBA Finals, right? We haven't seen that happen. LeBron losing in a playoff series that wasn't the finals since he left Cleveland for the very first time. Of course, he's banged up. You have Anthony Davis, who struggled in game one, but played pretty solid in game two. And then you look to the Suns, who haven't made the postseason in a decade. You have Chris Paul, who obviously is trying to add to his postseason legacy, who's now dealing with a shoulder injury. So Phoenix has been really stout all year on both offense and defense. They've had the league's best record since January 28th. They can certainly hang with the Lakers. They can certainly beat the Lakers. And it's a really, really fascinating series in terms of matchups. And it's going to be one you have to watch for the next 5 games for, in the present and all the ramifications going forward in the future.
Yeah, those are both good picks. Those are both very good series. Pina, I thought it was a little convenient that you left out that you picked the Clippers to win the NBA Finals, and now they're facing an 0-2 hole in the first round. So maybe a little bias there coming through from you. I'm going to take this to the Eastern Conference, which you guys are conveniently leaving out here, and go with the Hawks and Knicks, which have just had two thoroughly competitive games. Trae Young obviously stealing the first game in Madison Square Garden, the Knicks coming back and winning by 9 in game two. This has just been an incredibly hard-fought series. It might not have, the weighty storylines that you guys are talking about or the superstar power. It's a lot of Reggie Bullock and Alec Burks for the Knicks. It's a lot of Clint Capella for the Hawks. I'm just, thoroughly impressed by the strong play on both sides. I also do think there is a little bit of sneaky importance on this series for the Knicks. Obviously, they've had a great season. I do wonder if management is wondering a little bit, who are the guys that we're going to keep in this core moving forward? Who do we want to be Knicks for the next half decade as we try to bring stars back into the fold in New York? I do think a playoff series goes a long way in showing the kind of guys you want to keep around. So I'm going to go with the Knicks and the Hawks for this one. But Pina, I want to jump back to you. I know you did pick the Clippers to make the finals. I'm not trying to pick on you, but what are you looking at as kind of their biggest problem right now? Why are the Mavs having so much success?
Well, first of all, you're clearly trying to pick on me, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. I think that Luka has just been totally unstoppable. The wide open shots that he generates for all of his teammates, and the fact that all of his teammates are hitting every single shot that they take, has been really difficult for LA to overcome. And not having Serge Ibaka healthy, he was supposed to be a difference maker for the Clippers this season. I think that I anticipated him playing more minutes and being more impactful in the rotation. It just hasn't worked out for him. So I think like going forward, there's some rotation changes that Ty Lue can still make. They can clean some stuff up on the defensive end, but when Dallas hits shots, they're really, really tough to beat.
Yeah, the Clippers are finding that out the hard way for sure. For more, check us out on SI.com.